So for today, we're going to be drawing this block in the 3 orthographic views that we've been practicing using. So we're going to draw a front, a side, and a top view. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the process of that. To do this, we're going to need a square, a triangular square. It doesn't matter the orange 30/60/91 or the clear 45/45/91. Doesn't really matter for this. We also need a T-square, of course, and a ruler. And then you'll need a pencil and eraser, of course, too, as well. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line across my paper towards the bottom. And I do not care how long it is. I want it to go across the whole paper, though. So just like that, and you can see I have a line there. From that point, then I need to actually get a measurement. So this is where my front view is going to live, over in this side. And you can imagine it sitting right here. Okay, so let me get a measurement for this, and I'm going to throw the measurements on the screen as I get them. So I would say this is 5 5/8. Okay, so I want to come and I want to measure on this thing. I'll put 2 marks. I'll put a mark right here at the start, and then I'll put a mark at 5 5/8. Okay, so I have 2 marks there and there. And now let me use my triangle. I'll use the orange one to draw my lines going vertically. Okay, you can't freehand this. You can't just use a ruler. Okay, and I'll make my marks going all the way up. Just like that. And a quick way for me to check right here is if I should be able to put my piece here and it should fit. And it does. Okay. So let's go ahead and get the height then, and then that'll block in where our piece needs to go. If I measure the height this way, I see it's 3 1/4 inches. So I will measure up 3 1/4 inches. And I'll use my T-square and draw over from that line. And I'm going to, again, extend it all the way over. And we can see that my block fits in that box so far that I've created. Okay, let's go ahead and measure out this little notch. I'm going to measure up from the bottom. So from the bottom, it looks like it goes 1 3/4. So I will measure up 1 3/4. And feel free to take this at your own pace. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause and get it done. And again, I will draw that all the way across. And then I need to know how far over this way, where the notch kind of ends. So I will do, let's see this. It's 2 5/16. So I'll be as accurate as possible. 2 5/16 should be there. So I'll put a mark. And then again, using the triangular square, we'll draw up from that mark. And again, I'm going all the way up. I've said this tip before, but when you're making a line from your mark, if you put your pencil on the mark first, then bring your square into place, and then draw your line, it helps you line things up. So we can kind of see where my part is. My part lives right here. So these lines can go, these extra lines can go. Okay. Instead of erasing lines though right now, I kind of want to keep going. I want to keep drawing my side views so I know what these lines are referenced from. I don't erase anything I needed. So let's go ahead and draw a side view next. So over here somewhere, it doesn't really matter. I just need to get the width of this part, this direction. So looks like that is 1 3/4. So I'm going to take a mark. I'll mark a mark at 0, and then 1 3/4 there. And then I will come up from that point. And here's where you see why I drew my lines all the way across. Because I extended these lines over, I know this line is exactly where that line is, and they line up, okay, across my page. Okay, so I don't have to draw anything else, just those 2 showing me the width, and that is my side view. Okay, let's go to top view now. Some people make the mistake of trying to do it like this, where they tilt it down like that. But To get to your top view, I like to go back to my front view as a reference and then tip it up like this. Okay, and again, I need the width of my piece up here, and I just need to mark 2 lines. It was 1 3/4 inches, I believe. Yes. So up here, I will mark 1 3/4 inches. So I'll put a mark there and at 0. And then again, I can use my T-square, draw all the way across. Okay, and that should be it. That would be my view from there. And there's no other extra things on this. It's a very basic shape. So that's that, and that's that. Let's go ahead and erase some extra lines. So I don't need any of these lines in here. Here's one of the benefits of this like eraser guide thing too. If I know I want to keep that line, I can just barely cover up and erase up to it. It makes a very quick way to only erase what you don't want. All right, my lines are not perfect, but they're good enough right now. So what sometimes I will do is I'll go back over things and make them nice and bold as well too. So before I was kind of drawing pretty lightly, but now that I know all these things will exist here, I can kind of go back and darken up some of my lines. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Then we'll add some dimensions and then we are done. Rich. Okay, so there is my 3 views. Let's not forget to label them as well too. So this was my front view, my side view, and my top view. All right, the last thing that we will do in this is we're going to add some dimensions. So if someone was looking at this as a drawing, it's nice that they have the dimensions listed there for them to reference as they're drawing. So here's how we're going to dimension our lines. I'm going to use, I usually will just extend my lines lightly out, maybe, I don't know, 1/4 inch from where the actual edges are. And maybe actually let me do a couple right here first. So you can see, all right, I'm leaving a little bit of gap where the lines kind of come near my part, and I got a little too close there. Clean that up real quick. Don't be afraid to go back and fix stuff if you accidentally make a mistake. All right, and here's how we do our dimensioning lines. I'm not super critical that they are totally straight up and down, but I like to, sometimes I think a ruler is a little bit faster. I'll draw an arrowed line in between with little arrowheads on the ends. And then I will put my dimension right next to it. And in this case, that dimension from the bottom up was, what was it, 1 5/8 inches. Okay, so something just like that. And I will give a close-up view of this when I'm done. Okay, I can draw an arrow between these. And you can use your T-square too T-square is probably the appropriate tool to use. Again, just a nice light line. Measuring the distance in was 2 5/8, or sorry, 2 5/16. Okay, and by the way, these are called extension lines. I'm extending the lines of my part up so they can be seen. I'll also need to get the height, and I can do these in a lot of different ways. Just because this is a little crowded right here, I can show this height over here as well too. So I'll do that on this side, just for the sake of clarity. I mean, I already have the part there, so maybe I'll just show the overall height, 3 1/4. So I'll just draw the overall height of this here, here, line connecting them. Three and 1/4 inch. And you can see from this, what I have so far, the person that's making this would know that my starting piece was 3 1/4 inches. They could measure up from the bottom of the part and over from that side and cut that part out. I would also need to give them the overall length of my part. And then I think I'm done. So let's put that, I kind of wrote my top in a weird spot, but I'll extend this down, I guess. Oops. Extend this over. And then my total length was 5 5/8. Okay, something just like that. So I gave the overall dimensions of my part. I have the length, the height. Oh, I need the width. I need this dimension too. So either here or here I can draw that dimension. Just for the sake of it, I'll draw it over here. Again, these could be done in any order. And if you don't have enough room on one view, maybe you can scoot in another view like I'm doing. And arrowheads, and then my width of my piece was 1 3/4 inches. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of my extension lines. All right, well, and once you're kind of smudge free and everything's looking good, right? Erase all the extra lines if you don't need them. I think that looks pretty good, and you just made your first part.